Kolthazor here. This is my guide to farming the ruins. We're going to start out by picking WX78 as our character, and then we're going to go to the world, and we're going to change our season start to be autumn. Some people might frown on not using a default setting, but we would just remake the world if we started with spring anyway, so you might as well save yourself the frustration and just set it to start in autumn. We're picking WX78 as the character because he's going to be our strongest character for doing this, and also probably our faster character. We could play another character like Wickerbottom, which is going to have a strong start, or we could play Maxwell, who's going to get a lot of sanity in the ruins, but you'll quickly see why WX78 is going to be one of the best characters for this run. Alright, at the start we're going to need to gather some resources to get on this run. What we ideally need is a lantern, and we're also going to need a pickaxe and a hammer. We're not going to need that much stuff to get down there, but we really want to prepare ourselves because we don't want to come back up from the ruins until we're all done. So I'm going to get a bunch of sticks here, and we're going to get a bunch of grass. And we're also going to get some food so we have something to nourish ourselves before we get down to the ruins. So I'm going to pick all this grass and sticks, and while I'm picking, I'm kind of exploring, and I'm looking for any sinkholes I can find. It's important that you explore the world and you don't just stay in a general area because we want to get down to the ruins as quickly as possible. I'm not going to list any specific amounts for how much you want to pick, but just try and get a stack of sticks, a stack of grass, whatever food you can. We're going to get probably about a stack of wood if we can, and butterflies are really good for health, so we're going to take some of those. We're also looking for some pig skins. So some sources of pig skins will be if we find some totem poles, or even if we find a pig house. And we're going to want to make an axe early on, obviously, so we can get some wood. We're going to kill more butterflies, and I'm going to pick more twigs. I'm going to speed some sections of this up because it's not appropriate for me to display this entire 3-hour run here on YouTube. Alright, and now right here I find a touchstone with some totems. So I'm going to touch the touchstone so I can revive if I die. I'm not going to die during this run, but it's a good precaution if you find a touchstone to take it. I missed that butterfly because I'm an idiot, and I'm going to grab some more stuff, and then we're going to head a little north. I'm kind of trying to outline right now what I can and stay towards the edges so I'll be able to find what biomes are what. This will help later when you're trying to world hop. You can hopefully find some of the things while you're looking for the sinkhole. And when we go up here, we're going to see this is kind of a desert. We don't really want to go in the desert because there's not going to be that much stuff there we need. We can grab some tumbleweeds if we want to, and we can get some sticks and grass from that, and we might get something cool from it too. But I'm going to need these rocks for this hammer. Now that I have a hammer, I can come down and I can hammer these totem poles. Another thing we're also looking for is gold. We're going to try and get a stack of gold before we get down in the ruins, and that's so we can make an alchemy engine, a science machine, and some opulent pickaxes so that we can have an easier time farming the ruins. Now I'm just going to come down here, and I'm going to hammer these pig heads. I'm going to take the sticks, and I'm going to take the pig skins with me. These pig skins will allow us to make a football helmet. Strictly speaking, a football helmet is not at all required, but you're going to have a much easier time with it, and I suggest you get one. If you truly want to do this fast, you don't need one because it's only going to prevent damage. But once you get down the ruins, you're going to have some real problem with the Clockwork monsters, especially if you're playing WX78 because you don't have much life. So it's definitely suggested that you get at least a couple pig skins. And it's also going to allow us to make hand bats, which will speed up the run too. So I'm going to get a bunch in this video, but you really should only ever need about 8. And right here, I'm going to hammer down this pig house too, and you'll get boards and pig skins from that. The pig skins will help you with football helmets and the hand mats, and the boards will help you with the Alchemy Engine. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and you're also making this pig homeless, which is a big bonus. Alright, during this sped up segment, I picked some green mushrooms, and I also found a small pig village. And here I'm picking some grass, and I do find a gold stone down here, and I want to get that gold, so I'm going to light something on fire because it's night and I don't want to make a campfire and waste some logs. So I'm going to light this pig's house on fire, make him homeless too. I'm a real big fan of doing that, and now I'll have the light to harvest that. But the fire does catch quickly, and I want to make sure it doesn't kill me, so I'm going to kind of try and walk in the middle of it and get what I can. Once it starts to burn out, I'll be able to pick up those, and I don't need any flint right now. I might need some more later, and then I'll get my gold. And it doesn't matter if I light stuff on fire because I'm not staying in this world, and I don't really care. And I do have 12 pigskins, and that's enough pigskins, so I'm not going to need that. I'm using torches to get through the night at this point because I want to keep exploring. If you're not comfortable with that, you can make a fireplace. It is also very efficient for sanity to light shit on fire and then just use that. And if it's near other stuff, it'll have this chain reaction where I'll keep lighting stuff on fire as you run, like I'm doing here. And once I get to the edge of that, I'll be able to use my torch again. So I get through my first night without really anything big happening. But I did get some gold, and I'm good with pigskins, and I got some green mushrooms to restore sanity in the short term. And now I'm going to keep exploring. Alright, and now here I find some more gold, which I'm going to pick up. And now that I'm kind of in this rocky biome, I'm going to look for more golds. And this is a patch biome, so it has all different kinds. And that's really good, because you know that there's going to be a sinkhole here, so I can keep exploring. There's 3 sinkholes in the world, and I'm going to mine this gold rock. But the 3 sinkholes, one will be in a forest biome attached or in the middle of a swamp biome. One will be on the border of the pig village, and one will be in one of these like patchwork biomes with all these different turf types. So I want to keep getting gold here because I'm going for about a stack. So I'm going to be very careful of these tall birds and try and stay away from them while getting gold. And I also want to take rocks. Rocks are going to allow me to make cut stone for my alchemy engine. And they're also going to allow me to feed to rock lobsters. So I pissed off that tall bird. So I'm going to keep going this way, and I'm going to try and get some gold. And I just don't want him to hit me, so if he goes for a hit, I'll move away. And I can get away from him quickly on this road and pick up all these delicious pieces of gold. And I can make a science machine in my inventory, but don't place it, and then I'll be able to get more gold. So I'm going to do that. And I don't want to speed this up because now we're really close to the sinkhole. We're going to keep exploring for it and keep getting this gold. Now that we have a stack, we won't pick any more right now because we don't have inventory space. But we're going to clear up some inventory space by eating pretty soon. Alright, so now I've rebuilt a science machine, so I have more room for some more gold. If I wanted to, I could rebuild an alchemy engine too. And I found the sinkhole. I don't have enough pickaxe to mine it. That was kind of an oversight, so I'm going to have to find more flint. We have about 25 sticks and grass, which is enough. We have about 6 logs, which is enough. And we have about 10 rocks. You could use more if you want to repair some relics or ally some rock lobsters, but we don't really need to. We would want more logs and more rocks if we needed to make boards and cut stone, but we already kind of have some from mining some pig houses, so we're not going to need that. And I'm going to go look, and I find some flint right here. And I'll just need to make a pickaxe with that, and once I have a pickaxe, I can put it in my slot, and I'll have room. I could have also put a hammer in the slot and then just picked up the flint, but I did it this way, and we get the 1 extra gold. And now we're ready to go down into the ruins, and we won't need to come back up from the caves once we go down. Because we have plenty of food, and we can find some more berry bushes down there. So now we're just going to wait for the sinkhole to come up and spelunk, and then we'll go down. Alright, now that we're down in the caves, the exciting part starts. It's a lot more dangerous down here, and we're going to have to use torches for light now until we can make a lantern. So that's why we have a big stack of grass and a big stack of twigs, because we're going to need those for campfires and a lantern, but we're also going to need some to make torches, and we don't know when we're going to find the light bulb plant. It could take a while. Hopefully it doesn't. If you get really lucky, you might come down next to one. Now when we're in this lighted area, we're going to take our torch. We want to save as much as possible to make sure we don't get screwed and end up without a torch. But it's really unlikely to happen when you have a stack of 25 twigs and grass, but we just want to be careful. We're not really worried about sanity because we can get green mushrooms down here if we want to, and we can also cut green mushroom trees to get green mushrooms. And cooked green mushrooms will restore a lot of sanity. When we see that white turf with the stalagmites, we're going to turn back because there's basilisks down there and we don't have a weapon. And we also will take a lot of damage from getting hit by them because we don't have armor. So if we do encounter any enemies, we're just going to let our rock lobsters that we allied take care of them. Or we can find some rock lobsters to ally to take care of them. And I'm going to drop my axe because I don't really want to cut down any mush trees because I don't need them right now. And I finally found some light bulb plants. So now I can make a lantern. And this is going to make the caves a lot easier to tackle. I'm going to make a science machine, and I'm going to make an alchemy engine. You could store the alchemy engine on the surface for inventory space, but it doesn't really matter. Only really do that if you have the ingredients for it already and you feel like you're going to need a backpack or something. Because now that I can make a backpack, I'll make a backpack. And I'll make some boards and make the alchemy engine. I'm going to make 3 ropes. One of those is going to be for a pig helmet. And I'm also going to destroy my science engine because I don't need it anymore. It's going to give me back some logs. And I can go and I'm going to make a lightning rod. You don't need a lightning rod unless you're playing as non-WX78, then you'll probably need a lightning rod. I'm going to use it later for something else, but that can be for hammering pseudoscience machines and not taking damage. And I also need a football helmet, and I'll also need some more light plants so I can make a lantern. And I only need 1 lantern. And I don't need my torch anymore, so I'm going to clear some inventory room. And this is a good point to organize your inventory. And I'll make 1 football helmet. Now that I have it prototyped, I can just pick grass to make 1 anytime I want, so I don't really need to make more. It's going to be a waste of inventory space. And now I can pick these light bulb plants to get light bulbs for refueling my lantern. And at this point, you're basically ready to get down into the ruins. You have enough, as long as you have 4 logs and 6 grass, you're pretty much good to go down in the ruins. I'm also going to prototype an opulent pickaxe. You don't have to, but if you're going to farm the ruins, I suggest you have this prototyped so you'll be able to make sticks and gold into an opulent pickaxe. It's much more efficient than using flint to make normal pickaxes, and you need one anyway if you want to make the pickaxe from the pseudoscience station, which is a poor use of thulecite, but if you want that, you need opulent pickaxes and an opulent axe anyway, so it doesn't really save you anything. And now we're going to pick more light plants, and then I'm going to go exploring, and it's going to take a while to find the ruins because I kind of got unlucky with all my spawns and I got bad RNG in this run, so I'll kind of skip through that, but as I'm approaching it, I'll kind of talk about what I did to find it. Alright, and while it's sped up, I just explore around. I try and trace the map to see if I can find anything. If you find any long branches coming off of white turf, it's probably nothing, so I kind of ignore those. You want to make sure you don't have any meat in your inventory when you come by the bunnymen, and you're really just looking for dark turf with stalagmites to find spiders. Not all spider biomes are going to have the plug sinkhole, but I find more often than not it's going to contain the plug sinkhole. Only one of these caves, I didn't find it in the first spider biome I find, so it's pretty common. And another good way to find them is to listen for the sounds that they make, and if you hear those, you're going to go towards those sounds. And I actually find some spiders right down here. I would normally just try and weave through the webs, but there's 2 in close proximity, so I'm going to try and see if I can get around them. I could weave through the webs because I have my protectors over there, my rock lobsters, but it's not efficient. So I'm going to come through the back, and I see that these bunnymen are actually fighting the spiders, which I'll do, which is good. And I find that the plug sinkhole is actually on a web, and I'm being attacked by a shadow monster right now. So I want to put down my lantern so I can mine that stalagmite because I don't want spiders attacking me while I'm trying to do this. So I'm going to put it down right around here, and then I saw that the bunnymen actually start turning into nightmare bunnymen because we're in the nightmare cycle, and that's why this guy's following me around. So I'm kind of trying to get him to follow me up here and then lose him. And I want to restore some sanity, so I'm going to cook these. I won't need these for later. Basically, when we get down in the ruins, we're just going to use gears. And now that I'm sane, I'm going to come back down here. That'll piss him off. And I want to see if I can't mine this. I'm pretty sure all the spiders are dead because they were fighting the bunnymen. And now that they are, I just want to make sure that there's no spider webs on where the plug sinkhole is. So when I come back out, I don't have to deal with them. And while I'm mining it, I don't want spiders trying to kill me. And now that that's done, I can mine the sinkhole. I need to have him distracted. And now I can pick up those thulecite. I want to pick them up fast because rock lobster will actually try and eat them. And I'm going to need my lantern back. You don't want to drop your lantern when it's low because it could run out. And now I can go deep into the ruins. And now the real fun starts. Alright, now that we're down in the ruins, it's really dangerous down here. This is basically the reason we're wearing a football helmet. Up to now, it wasn't really that important, but now we're definitely going to take some hits. I'm going to ally this rock lobster a little bit more with some rocks. He'll get distracted and start attacking a depth worm if it attacks me, but it'll nullify at least one depth worm. If you have more rock lobsters, this will be a little safer. You could also try and bring some bunnymen down here. But it's kind of a waste of time in my opinion, and you have to keep allying them, and it's pretty annoying. So we're just going to have him there. And he'll be slowly following us if we get into any trouble. We still don't have a weapon, so we won't really be able to kill anything. But it's okay, because down here, if we know what we're doing, we can just run around and avoid everything. So we're going to try outlining the map so we can see the entrance to many different biomes. We're in the wilds biome right now, which is going to contain depth worms, light bulb plants, some nightmare lights and nightmare fissures. It's going to contain a lot of random lichens and ferns, which we don't really need. And then it'll also contain the entrance to all the other biomes. So we're going to look for the labyrinth, and we're also going to look for a sacred biome. And, you know, any military biome or anything you might see. But we don't want to go to the village biome because that just has spelunkies and relics. And there will be some thulecite walls we could hammer down if we really want all the thulecite. But we're not going to get all the thulecite just because it's so time consuming. So now I'm just going to trace these walls. I saw that was kind of a whole dead end up here. So it's going to go this way a little. And I'm going to avoid depth worms. I want to make sure that I see them dive if I go past them so I can avoid them. Because they will do a lot of damage to you. And if you don't have a football helmet, they can kill you. Alright, now that we see this different colored turf, we're going to know this is going to either lead to a village, or we're going to lead to the labyrinth, or it could lead to a sacred biome. So we're always going to kind of follow these little patches to investigate a little bit. We want to be careful. Learning the turf down here is very important. This sacred turf stuff is what encompasses the labyrinth. It also can be through villages. So we're going to investigate a little. We see the broken relic, so we know this is a village. And there's going to be spelunkies here, and there's going to be some slurpers. So if you need slurpers, you can go here. There's also going to be cave banana trees. But we don't really need slurpers right now. We'll take some slurper pelts in this run, but we're not going to need them. So we're just going to like investigate these. These will lead off into nothing, and we're going to kind of go back. We're going to ignore the village, and we're going to skip it for now. If you want to fully farm each ruin, it's important that you go to the village. But I would hit it last, because having the spelunkies follow you around and try and take your stuff will be very annoying. So we're going to keep going. And here we see another little sacred turf, so we're going to follow this a little bit. Blue mushrooms can restore your health, and they can restore your hunger, but they're going to cost sanity, so they're a really good tool down here. And we see the monkeys down here, so we're going to kind of leave. We don't want them to follow us. So this is another village down here. If we get too close to them or annoy them, they will start following us around at a distance, and they'll be really hard to kill. Once we get overcharged, we'll be able to kill them. So now we keep going. We're going to see this little platform. This is always at the start of a sacred biome. This little twisty thing with a statue. So now that we know we found a sacred biome, we need to go in. Our first goal down here is to get some gears, and our second goal is to get overcharged. So we can do both of these things without a weapon. So we want to avoid all those webs because there'll be pit dwellers that come off. They'll chase you around, but they can hit you from a far range. And we also want to avoid any clockwork monsters. This is a clockwork knight. They're not that scary. They'll just follow you around as long as you don't go near them. And we also really want to avoid Clockwork Bishops, like this one right here. When they wake up and try and hit you, they have a very long range area of effect projectile that goes very fast. And they will hit you if they try and hit you. But if you run directly away from them, when you encounter them, they won't be able to catch up to you to hit you. So that's very important. So what we're looking for is a Clockwork Rook. It's probably the least common Clockwork monster you're going to find down here, but it's going to be essential for getting you overcharged. We want to get gears before getting overcharged, but you can do it in the other order if you feel comfortable with doing that. You're going to want to find gears slightly after getting overcharged if you get overcharged, because the overcharging you is going to reduce your sanity to 0, but it's going to provide you with light, speed, and you won't be able to freeze anymore. So it's important to get overcharged first to make the entire rest of the run incredibly easy. So we're going to get overcharged, but if we get overcharged before we get gears, we're going to have to find gears to restore our sanity and upgrade ourselves real quick. Down here, playing as WX-78 is very easy once you get overcharged, because you can feed yourself, restore your sanity, and heal yourself with gears, and they're so abundant down here. And once we're overcharged, it's so laughably easy to kill Clockwork Rooks, Bishops, and Knights, so we're going to get overcharged ASAP. We're just going to explore and outline this biome as well, though, because we want to know kind of what's around here. And later when we farm, we're going to start farming these biomes. I'm not going to fully farm this entire ruins, and I'm only going to lightly farm the other ruins in this run, just to demonstrate it and get a couple stacks of thulecite. But if you want to fully farm all the ruins, you could probably do that inside of 30 days if you really tried. And since you're in autumn, and the first other season's going to be winter, you won't be able to freeze because of being overcharged, so it's going to be real easy. We also want to get a good idea of where all these statues are, because these are where we're going to get most of our thulecite gems. And where the pseudoscience stations are, which will become important very soon. And we can repair one of those damaged rooks if we had gears, but we don't. Okay, so now that we have a damaged rook, we're going to try and lead him into this knight right here. Once we lead him into this knight, he'll kill it for us, and we can grab the gears. Once we have gears, we can overcharge ourselves. So we're going to stand in between them like that and have him run at him, but it's going to miss a couple times. And he actually just hit a pseudoscience station by accident, which means we got struck by lightning, which I'll explain in a second. But we got overcharged before we got gears. That's fine. That happens. And now we can avoid Bishop's fire pretty easily. So we still want to get him to get us some gears, because that'll restore our sanity. We'll stop being followed around. We have light, but we don't have enough light. So we're going to use the lantern still. And it's important you have a football helmet, because that did a ton of damage to me. If I didn't have a football helmet, I'd be near dead at this point. 2 shots will kill you without a helmet. So we're going to try and get him to attack some of these clockwork creatures by standing in between them. But it's difficult because they're both moving. So we got 2 clockwork rooks down here, and we can have them duke it out if we want to, by running into each other. We just don't want to kill all our clockwork rooks, because then we wouldn't be able to get any more gears until we get a spear. We just need a couple gears. And we're going to circle around a little bit. We don't want the rooks to be able to hit these statues, because once he hits them, it'll destroy them, and we get whatever gems in them. Otherwise, we can kind of control what gems are going to be in them. So we're going to have him kill another knight, and now we have enough gears. So we're going to pick up those gears. So we got to circle around, because we don't want to get hit by any of these nightmare creatures. And this is a little dangerous. This is why you try and get gears before you get overcharged. That's why it's important to try and keep the rooks away from the pseudoscience stations, but it'll happen eventually. And now that we're fast, we don't really have to worry about things being able to catch us. So we'll just kind of grab those when we feel like we got a second in between attacks. And I'm going to grab the other gear too. There's a lot of nightmare creatures following us now. During the nightmare cycle, which is important to talk about, all the statues will start vomiting shadow stuff, and these nightmare lights will open, and these shadow creatures will appear. These shadow creatures aren't all because I'm insane, some of them are, but most of them are spawned from the nightmare lights. So when this happens, the safest thing to do is just run around. Especially if you're overcharged, there's really no way that they can catch you, so you just want to keep on running. And eventually, in about 200 seconds or so, which can seem like a long time, the shadow cycle will reset, and everything will turn gray, and then these guys will die shortly after. And they'll also leave some nightmare fuel when they die, so we can collect some nightmare fuel without having to kill anything, which is very important. So we're just kind of weaving through here. We're what I'm doing right now is exploring the rest of the biome because I got overcharged, so I can run really fast. And I'm actually not restoring my sanity right now because it's just going to drop the second I start restoring it. And I'm also going to want to get more overcharge before I restore it, because every time I get overcharged, it's going to bottom out my sanity. So I'm just going to ignore these shadow creatures for now and keep kiting them. If you run out of overcharge, you would have to use the gears to get your sanity back up. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare trying to get more gears while you're slow and being followed by shadow creatures. So I'm just going to continue to explore this whole place. And I'm going to get all the pseudoscience stations. Pseudoscience stations usually have bishops near them. That's the worst case scenario. They might hit you. You might have to sacrifice a hit to hammer them down. Basically, when you hammer or a rook hits a pseudoscience station, it's going to damage it. And anytime a pseudoscience station gets damaged, it'll produce random things such as trinkets. It could produce thulecite, some cool thulecite items. It can also has a good chance of producing enemies. So you see those shadows leave there, and the ground's going to start to turn gray, and it's going to stop glowing. Now we're in the kind of resetting phase of the nightmare cycle. And we want to keep our lantern fueled up to expand our light radius. So if we run like that, they won't be able to hit us. So when you hammer the pseudoscience station down, it's going to produce a bunch of bolts of lightning, and those will probably hit you. But if you're WX78, they will hit you because you're a lightning rod, and they'll all overcharge you. So we're going to look at those pseudoscience stations. We need to hammer those down. From hammering just those pseudoscience stations down, we can probably get overcharged to like day 30 or 40. So what we're going to do is we're going to kamikaze up, and we're going to hammer their station. The lightning bolts will heal us. And they'll kind of stun lock us like that, and they'll produce a ton of enemies. Don't do that where you're being followed by like 20 nightmare creatures, because they will attack you, and they'll probably hit you. But some of the basilisks and stuff might hit us when we do this, but that's fine. It's important that we're overcharged before we do this the first time, because, especially while we're insane, because we have to take our lantern off. If we just got some gears and we don't have any overcharge, what we need to do is we need to drop our lantern, hit it real quick, and then pick our lantern up, which is kind of difficult to do. And now that we eat a couple gears, we're sane again, and we're overcharged a lot. I got struck by many, many bolts of lightning. So now we can start farming. Any of these statues without a gem will always give you nightmare fuel, and it will never reset. So you want to take those, and then the other ones, you kind of want to just see what kind of gems in them. It's a little difficult to tell during some nightmare cycle phases because the color of everything will change, but you can kind of get a good look from getting close to them. And also, experience teaches all. So if it's hard to tell, it's probably purple, but blue and red are pretty obvious. Green is very obvious, and yellow, orange, and purple can look a little similar. So now we're going to leave and try and find the labyrinth, because now that we're overcharged, we want to go and kill the Ancient Guardian because he's going to be so easy to kill, and because we're faster. So we're going to kind of just check out all these little wispy things coming off, and we're going to also get some light plants. And once we found one of these long things with nightmare fuels in the ornate chest, that's a labyrinth. What we need to do is we need to farm all these chests, and we're going to take the nice stuff out of them, and we can hammer them down like this, and I'll take them off our maps so we won't be confused that we've already got this. But what you can also do, and which I'm going to do shortly after, is you can just kind of remember, and every time you reveal a chest on your map, go get it immediately, so that way you know chests already revealed will already have been opened. And this is how we're going to clear out the labyrinth. You can also just hammer it like that, and the stuff will fall out. The pickaxe is one of the things that can come out. A lot of different stuff can come out. The one thing we need, though, is a spear. And we just want to avoid these pit dwellers. We're so fast, they won't be able to hurt us. Unless we kind of run into where they're attacking. We can't even run past their webs. So this hammer method works really great, but you're going to run out of hammers, so on a long run, I don't advise it, because you're going to have to keep making hammers. So on a long run, you just want to see all the chests, but I'm going to demonstrate it a couple times anyway. We don't need that much hammer in this run, because we're not going to hammer that many stations. But in a really long run, you would hammer more stations than we do, to make sure you have overcharge. We just want to fully explore this labyrinth. We'll eventually find the Ancient Guardian. We'll kill him. He's pretty easy when you're overcharged and when you have your recipes for campfire. And then once we kill him, we're going to see what he gets in our chest, and then we need to go back. We'll probably make a thulecite crown, because when our football helmet runs out, we want something else to replace it. The thulecite crown is the best head item. You probably usually want to use it with a body item to reduce the damage on it, but it doesn't matter, because we're going to get so much thulecite farming out the ruins. You would only ever really need to like farm 1 ruins, and you get pretty much all the thulecite you ever need. We could farm 3 per world. We won't even be able to carry all of it if we do much more. So, and it's such a cheap recipe, it's definitely worth it. So I'm going to keep going. Green gems are basically the best thing you can get from a chest. You want to take green, orange, and yellow gems. They're all basically non-renewable. You can get them from tumbleweed, but such a low chance, it's really insignificant. And I'm going to take purple gems. I'm going to take this log armor just in case my football helmet runs out and I need to use it. I can drop my backpack and leave it somewhere. For this run, you want to keep your backpack with you just so you have the extra space, but it's better than dying, so I'll have some log armor just in case if I get hit a bunch of times, but once I'm pretty secure, I'm just going to drop it. And the thulecite and thulecite fragments aren't obvious. That's what we're down here for. And we'll keep exploring it. And while it was fast forward, I got a spear from a chest, and we got a football helmet. I dropped my log armor because I didn't need it anymore. So we find these lipo plants in the labyrinth. What that means is that's going to be the Ancient Guardian. And also down here is going to be a military biome that always branches off the labyrinth. Not always near the Ancient Guardian, but always off the labyrinth. So he's going to try and run at us like a rook and try and smash us. He does a ton of damage. If you're not wearing armor, you might get killed. I want to continue exploring and kind of get this last chest, because I already saw it, and just make sure there's nothing in it. And then I'm going to go kill the Ancient Guardian, who's a joke when you're overcharged. When we're not overcharged, you might want to practice on overcharge his willow or something, because it makes the fight a lot easier when you've done it without being overcharged. We're just going to place a fireplace, and then we're going to kind of bait him, and then place another fireplace right next to it, like that. And then he'll run in the middle of them. We can turn the thing and look at that. This actually hasn't happened to me a lot before, but we gotta get these, or they will kill our fires, maybe. And we'll have to leave our fires, and he'll leave. And then we can just run through like this. And we want to make sure we run back. He can hit you a couple times with the football helmet, and you won't die. But it's really risky. If you're not wearing a helmet and he hits you, he'll kill you in 2 hits, and he'll hit you and then hit you shortly after. You'll be fucked. So we just walk to the center, walk slightly away, and then hold F, and he'll run up into basically the first spot where he can hit him and start hitting him. If you're closer to one of the fireplaces or not at the center, he can still hit you. And will. And this will take about 37 seconds. It'll take about 49% of a spear, so make sure you have at least 49% combined spears. If not, you can finish it with some tools, if you have extra tools. But they don't do a lot of damage. He has a good amount of life. And now that he's dead, he's going to drop a bunch of meat, the Guardian Horn, and he's also going to make this ancient chest, which we can get a lot of cool stuff in. We got thulecite, which is basically the best drop besides a green gems. And we could get a thulecite crown from this, which would really help, but we didn't. And we're going to pick up this meat, and we can make a hambat with this meat now. We're also going to cook some of it for food, because there's no point in saving any of it, really, because it will spoil. So we're going to use 2 for a hambat, and the rest we could eat if we wanted to. Alright, and that's it for part 1. I'll release part 2 maybe in a couple days, and you can watch that. Thanks for watching. I'm going to post some of my other videos up here. You can check those out if you want. And yeah, have a good day.